Hi everybody, welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies supporting their wellbeing challenges. As you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference. And today I'm super excited, finally, to be speaking to Kez. Hi Kez, how are you doing?
Hi, Jasmine. How are you? Yes, and it has been a long time in coming. You know, we've been organising this
It's
for
been so
what seems
long.
like forever.
I know. I'm so glad. I always believe, though, everything happens at the right time.
Cool.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a certified wellbeing coach in cognitive behaviour therapy, mindfulness, and positive psychology, and I'm also a mental health first aid instructor for the UK.
Amazing, amazing. So you chose this title today, Building Quality Relationships, which I think is so, so important. Can you tell us what that means and why you chose it today?
A lot of the times we fail to understand what the relationship is based on. We fail to, we see a lot of difficulties within families but it's not only the relationships with people. People forget you have relationships with pretty much everything that your life touches and something
Yeah.
that touches your life as well. Be that alcohol, drugs, even down to buying to your phone, your car, etc. Everything is you form a bond with it. It's something that
Yeah.
you interact with on a regular basis, and that's what a relationship is.
Wow. It's so true. It's so true. And we forget that, don't we? Like we're actually having a relationship, yeah, like you said, with everything that we're coming into contact with.
And the problem is when we don't understand that relationship, that is where the
Yeah.
difficulties and challenges come in. So what I do is, I have obviously worked with organizations on their well-being and on their mental health, but also I have individual clients that I talk with regards to, whether it be financial transactions as well.
Yeah.
What was their relationship like with money? How bad are they? Do they write things down? Do they understand what the purpose of that money is, etc.? So I
And so,
generally have to talk about that.
no, it's brilliant. The work that you do is so important. So, what challenges, like when you're doing these workshops and your sessions that you do for companies, what challenges do people have with relationships in their lives?
The biggest one is they don't understand the relationship.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, people do not understand relationship. They do not understand that all relationships, and this may go against the grain, they're transactional in nature. We do something for somebody else, and generally we tend to like something in return.
Yeah.
Even with our phone, that instant gratification when we scroll, the new car, that gratification. Oh, yes, I've got the latest car. It's got all the new gadgets in it. But hold on a second. What is your relationship? Do you understand that that's not always going to be a new car? Do you understand that in a year's time that car is no longer new? That car is not going to have the latest gadgets in because new technology comes around every day, but also within our relationships with people as well. What do we understand about the relationship with others? Have we tried to understand if we have a disagreement with somebody? Do we actually understand that we need to understand everybody's perspective
Yeah.
rather than actually it's got to be based on my own perspective?
So no, it sounds really important. So it sounds like you're saying it's about the first step is about being conscious of what the relationship is.
But
And
also
yeah,
benefits of the relationship. We all get into relationships because they give us something.
yeah,
Community feeling. Aristotle said all them years ago, he said, we like to feel as humans that we belong somewhere, in a workplace, at home, with our friends, if you play sports, even in a sports community. But then also, do we feel that we belong and we're able to cope with when we go out with friends and we drink? What is the benefit? Why are we going to drink? Because it lowers our inhibitions, is generally the case. But if it goes too far, what is it that you're now trying to mask? But it's the same in a relationship. When the relationships go where you now need support, what mask are you wearing to cover up that's no longer where you want to be? Because we all grow. We've also got to understand where we belong. We've got to understand that we change. It's not as simple as, you like the olden days, you grow old together. But in those days, it used to be you grow old together because you made a firm commitment. You dealt with the things that aren't really as good as you want it to be. And, you still stay together. You try to work at it. You talk to each other. But relationships nowadays, we tend not to, talk to the people that we're having the relationships with, be that family, work colleagues, even the communities that we're in. We don't try to understand.
Yeah, sorry. It sounds like you're saying that nowadays we give up much more easily because we want that instant feeling of gratification or belonging, and if we don't get it, we just leave.
Of course, we forget that actually. We see something and it takes our attention away from the thing that we're trying to have that connectivity with. Our actual close friends nowadays is around about 30% less than it was maybe even 15 years ago. Doesn't help with social media because that instant gratification, the likes, etc. Someone else is giving me the attention that I am wanting, rather than getting it from people that are here and present and now.
Oh, I see what you mean. So it's about about social media, online and in person.
It's everything, you've got to have a look at the way it goes. We forget that social media is a great tool. It connects people from around the world, yet we don't use it to the best of its ability. There are those people out there that tell you what you should wear, what you should look like, etc. Rather than actually the person that you're having that relationship with, what do they think? We don't ask. We don't ask, a husband and wife, does my bottom look big in this? But you say that, you sit there laughing. But how often do we tell the truth? Where's the truth in it? We don't try to understand why she feels that she needs to ask the question.
What would you say is the biggest problem then nowadays? Is it we're not being real?
Yeah, authenticity, as you said, when you advertise this, authenticity in relationships is it's lacking in a lot of things we do nowadays.
And why? Why?
I think we've been told that we're now at such a content driven. Everything we do is content driven. You look at LinkedIn. Yes, it's nice, top voice, la la la, because I'm constantly there and I'm constantly trying to improve my brand, rather than actually going, okay, what is it that I need to do so that people are aware of me? You don't. You say, what is it that I want people to know about my brand? It's not you. Your brand is something, how you portray yourself. Do you portray the ugly sides of yourself ever on any social media?
Me or anyone, you mean?
Anybody.
Anybody.
As humans, we tend to show people our good life.
Yes, yes, the best side.
rather than actually showing our life. We show these happy moments rather than showing, well, we're having a bit of a roller coaster. You may find the odd person there that will tell you
Mm.
their ins and outs. But what's the first thing you do? Someone's moaning again. Oh, I'm just going to scroll by. I'm not going to listen to it. I
Yeah.
don't need to hear it. We all do it, and it's quite worrying, really, that rather than actually having, and where this comes into the well-being side of things, is that if we want to improve our well-being, we've got to improve the quality of our relationships with everything. A bit like I said about alcohol earlier. What is it? What is the reason that you are, drinking to excess? You may think, oh, well, there's a bad memory that I'm trying to deal with, and that just helps blot it out. But we don't realize it's just short term. So what we do is drink again.
Mm.
And this is where the
Yeah.
abuse comes in, which rather than actually trying to fix the situation by trying to understand it, we try to block things out. And that's the same with people as well.
Yeah.
If
Block
excuse me, if we have an issue at home with our family or even with our friends, rather than try to understand where they're coming from and try to understand that, okay, we can be different. We want to try and cozy up as much as we can. And, you can either be on my side or I can be on your side. Rather than saying, it's okay to be different. It's, we
Yeah.
are all different, but we all try to, we've been saying for years, yeah, we want to put people in boxes, within work. Oh, that person's smart. It's a smart box. But how smart? What are they smart in? We forget that we are actually trying to understand the reason why all them people are in that box, which then clusters us together because it makes it easier for us to understand how we can cluster people together so that, oh,
Yeah.
that's that sort of people. You worked in a school, we have, children of determination, etc. When we worked in schools, etc.
Yes.
But each one, you know as well as I do, each one of them is different. Each one of them needs to be understood so that you can take care of their needs. But we don't want to
Yes.
do that when we're at home.
No. Right. I see what you mean. So going back to home, family
Yeah.
well-being, it sounds like you're saying we maybe don't want to have these uncomfortable conversations and we just sort
Yeah.
of want to pretend everything's okay, to keep the peace, not speak up.
Yeah. A lot of the time, obviously, we all grow, we all change, we all learn different things, we all have a better understanding. But if a person, say a mother is at home, they're not having the same growth rate as you. But also, whilst they are grown, because obviously they've learned now to be a mother, etc., and things like that. But a lot of the youth now, they don't understand what it means to be another. That you are there to make sure that your child is accountable. We don't. We make other people accountable. We don't like to accept liability for the things that are wrong, which is the reason why we don't discuss them.
Wow. So you're talking, so it's a lot about the relationship with yourself then, building quality
Yeah,
relationships. Most important
you've
thing
got to
is to build.
understand yourself first. You know,
Exactly.
it, the age-old saying goes, you are never going to have true love with somebody until you love yourself. Same
Oh,
as a
yes.
relationship.
So true.
Same as relationships. You are never going to form a good quality relationship if you don't understand yourself.
Yes.
Relationships are always about understanding yourself and others and what that interaction brings to the benefit of both rather than just one person.
Definitely, definitely. We've got a comment here on Instagram because we've got a lot of people watching Instagram. So let me
Yeah,
just read the comments
go
out.
for it.
Labeling or boxing people stops us from really acknowledging the human in front of us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you were saying, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, it stops us being individuals. You know, the reason that it happens is because it's easier to identify a group. Groups
Yes.
are easy to identify. You know, we can put them in this area or this area. You know, they may have, say, a child has learning needs. Yeah. But then we can break it down further. We can, well, what are the learning needs? Well, he learns at a higher rate than the rest of his class, or he may have
Yes.
language difficulties. He may have, you know, developmental delays.
Yes.
So
Yes.
many
Yes.
different things, but we always want to
Yes.
say, oh yeah, you know, they're a child of
We
determination.
look at it in a negative way, maybe. It doesn't have
Yeah,
to be. It's the perspective
well,
that
it
we.
doesn't have to be. We have to understand that at the end of the day, we're all different, you know. So why do we
Yeah.
all want to club together?
I
It's a
love
bit like
that.
all going out and wearing the same thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Now, I absolutely love what you're saying, Kez. I think it's so, so important to embrace our individuality, basically, accept ourselves, build that quality relationship. Because if you don't have that, then what do you have actually? It's all fake otherwise.
But it's not only about ourselves, you know. This is a relationship. It's a transactional thing. So there's obviously two pieces or more. You've now got to, now you understand yourself a bit better. You now
Yeah,
have
but
to try and understand the other person. It's not going to work if you're refusing to understand the other person, because we were all raised differently. We were
yeah,
all, you know, we had different upbringings. We come from different countries. The stuff that we raised up and saw as children, even going into
totally,
adult,
totally.
changes us
Another comment.
significantly.
No, you're right. We've got another comment. We were created in tribes so we can know each other better.
Mm, okay, so let's have a look. We were created in tribes, but each one of those people in that tribe are different.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not, you know, the reason that we came together in tribes is so that we can foster what we call a community. So we can foster support and help, which we very rarely do. We don't try to understand, which means if we don't understand the reasoning behind something that somebody else does, how can we
true.
support them in it? And
Being
that's why
open.
it's such a big thing about, that's why it's a big thing in the well-being arena, that if you are not trying to understand the person that you're trying to foster a good relationship with, it's never going to happen. You know, we don't talk to each other anymore.
Yeah,
You know, we
true.
very rarely, because we don't pick up a phone anymore. It's a WhatsApp. How many times have you misconstrued something, Jasmine, on WhatsApp? I can tell you, I have a million
Oh,
times.
yeah. You
You know,
misunderstand it. Yeah, definitely.
because
Oh,
we don't
definitely.
we don't have that connection anymore. It's WhatsApp. How you doing, mate? It's all good. This is what I've been doing. Oh wow, that sounds a bit ominous.
Yeah,
No, 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 not like that. And then we have to explain. But it's not until we get into that explanation that then they can understand. But
yeah,
then we've got to get them to explain to us as well. You know, so which is one of the other things that we come across with, um, listening as well.
yes.
A lot of the
Very,
time,
very
we
important.
listen to respond, we listen to make an observation, we
Yes,
listen to make an form an opinion, and we listen to judge. Seldom we actually listen so that we can try to understand. When we ask those questions, we want to show them that we've been through it rather than, you know, it. One of the
yeah,
things that I comment on about, you know, in the mental health stuff that I do. So the mental health first aid. It's one of the things I say to people is your aim is to listen, which means if they're having an emotional roller coaster, you don't need to be on that roller coaster with them. You don't need to understand that their roller coaster is up and down, up and down. You can see it. You don't need to be there with it inside that roller coaster and having the ups and downs with them. You're there to try and understand. And then obviously, if there is an issue, what can we do about it? What can we learn? Who can we learn from? But it's the same with our mental health. If we've got poor mental health, as a mental health first
Yeah.
aider, I would say, okay, this is something that I need to know more on. However, I know somebody that can support you. And that's
Yes.
what I meant. The mental health first aid, it is to
Oh, brilliant. Yes.
save lives, etc., and things like that. But then to move them on to a professional.
An expert. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Definitely. But what was I going to say? So what when you're doing your workshops and you're talking about, building quality relationships,
Yeah.
where do you start? Where do you start with this? Because it's such a
With having
huge
a conversation. We start with having a conversation,
a real
understanding
conversation.
who we are, what are our desires, why are we in a relationship? So we can say, okay, so I like this person, I'd like to, be a friend to that person, or even more if that's the case may be. But it has to start with friendship first. And the thing is, even with children, we've got to do that, So we can start with, hello, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Trying to get to know them. Ask them the questions. What do you do? And we all do it without thinking. Oh, but we ask the wrong question. Instead of saying, oh, what do you do? What's the things that are interesting in you? Where do you come from? What do you do for work? How much do you earn? Is the three main questions that people ask if they want to get to know somebody. But why are we doing that? Okay, what's the things that interest you? What do you enjoy doing? You answer them
Exactly.
questions, but
Open
even ask
question.
them about yourself, because relationships also are about affinity, where we can spot things that we can see about ourselves in that other person. It's not just about, I like that person. Opposites, yes, they're great, etc., because they challenge each other. But opposites only work against it. Opposites only work together when they do challenge each other, rather than actually try to be the same as each other. Because if one person gives over too much of themselves, the benefit of that relationship now wanes. It gets less. So we've got to make sure that with that benefit, that we keep people interested in what we have, what we are saying. No matter if we say things that are different, we've got to make sure that they understand us, who we are, what we believe in, our morals, our upbringing, etc., and things like that. Obviously, they're not things that happen straight away, but they're
No,
conversations,
exactly.
But the thing is, if we don't ask them, okay, so what do you enjoy doing? What have you been doing this week? It's similar to any conversation. We don't want to answer a question, are you all right? Yes, no. That
No.
relationship's
So
there.
it's an open
Done,
question. Yeah. So
And
it's about
you
making real conversation.
Yeah,
Sorry, Christian.
conversation. But the reason for the conversation is understanding. But not only that, okay. So when the relationships are formed, what we often don't do either is make people accountable for their
What do
actions
you
as
mean,
well.
make people accountable? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
So, for instance, you have, you and your child. Yeah, your child's screaming at you and you're trying to make dinner as a parent, etc. Then all of a sudden the child wants the attention. So what do you say to your child? Go away, I'm busy. What you can say is,
Yeah.
I'm going to stop this now. Hold on a second. Stop what you're doing with making the dinner. I am really busy at the moment. I'm making dinner so that we can sit down and eat together as a family, so we can have a talk. Is it something that's important that can't wait? Or is it something that can wait until dinner time when we can sit and have a proper discussion? We've now made them accountable about ensuring that what they've got to say and the reason for the disruption is
So
a genuine
conscious.
reason, rather than actually being something that they're just being a chat box. Happens all the time with children going to bed as well. You know, the conversations that children want to have with you when they're being put to bed is just unbelievable.
True. No, I completely understand that. And I think, yeah, being conscious about what we're saying, how we're interacting with people, it's really important. But sometimes you might just want to talk a load of rubbish as well.
I'm not
That's
saying
okay
that,
as
but
well.
there
Yeah.
is a time and a place for talking a load of rubbish. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So I've now tried to understand that they're going to talk a load of rubbish. Is this the best use of my own? Is there what is the benefit to me? Remember me talking about everything's transactional? What is the benefit to me of them talking rubbish now while I'm trying to do this? What is it? What is going to happen because of that? Because I'm now holding myself accountable in that relationship. Okay, if I don't tell her that, you know, we can talk later, what's going to happen? She's just going to keep talking. What's going to happen? I'm not going to make sure that the dinner's how I want it, so that
I see what you
my
mean. Right
husband, the rest of
timing.
my family.
Yes.
Accountability is one of the things that we very rarely do. We don't hold ourselves to account for anything we do. Very rarely. It just happens and that's it. And we deal
You're
with the
right. You're right.
consequences.
No, I think you're right about being conscious. I think that's a game changer.
Yeah.
On autopilot, having the same conversation, same thoughts, same conversations, Groundhog Day, nothing changing, and expecting things to change. So I think what you're saying is so true, that we need to be conscious, because otherwise it's like giving your life meaning, isn't it? Knowing what we're doing. And if we're doing the same thing every day and we know that and we're happy with it, that's fine. But just be conscious about it.
Yeah.
But we're running out of time, Kez.
No worries at all.
For ages. But what else would you like to say to, people watching who maybe, are feeling really lonely? They feel like they don't have quality relationships in their lives. They have all these patterns, maybe they're not talking. They find it very hard to have those real conversations. What would you say? What can be the first
that
step?
conversation, pick up the phone to somebody, or even, there are people out there that are willing to listen to you, be that in the workplace,
Yes.
be that at home, etc., with the family. But even sometimes we know that, our family may be judgmental, our work colleagues may be judgmental, but even, have a look, go online, go and find somebody you can speak to. I think there's 8 dedicated services out here, which means that people can talk about the things that they feel are broken, that they struggling to find those relationships, etc. There's some great relationship coaches that are about as well. What are the things that I'm missing? But you've got to ask yourself those questions. What are the things I'm missing? Why is it that I'm missing those things? What am I doing to actually improve that? If you're not meeting people.
Yeah, it's about being accountable again. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not meeting people,
you're
are
responsible.
you going to change? Possibly not.
Yeah.
If you're not actually, talking to the people at work, etc., to try and improve the quality of relationships.
Yeah.
When it comes to the time that you need that help, where is it coming from?
Yeah.
Why haven't you built those relationships to begin with? Because no matter what, I read a passage today and it was about the Robinson Crusoe thing,
Yeah.
and he had Wilson. Wilson was his one social connect. It was a thing that he understood. He understood it was a coconut, even at the end, etc. And he understood it was a coconut, but it was somebody that he can bounce his ideas off. A lot of the time, because the ideas are in our head, we tend, no, I can't let anybody know about that.
Yes.
Rather than actually just blurring it out and how can we deal with it?
No, I like what you're saying about that. We can actually do something. It is in our control, and we can reach out. We can speak. We can change this. We can do this. And also, I think it's really important if you're finding it hard to talk. Some people get animals, don't they? Which can be amazing. Be amazing.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Animals are great things. That's
exactly
talking piece.
Yeah, I've worked with lots of teenagers, and and they've told me how they they've ended up getting a dog, and talking to the dog, telling the dog all their secrets, and it's just helped them so much. But we could talk about this for a long time, but we have to go.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your top tips and tricks for building quality relationships. How can people find you?
Obviously, my website is www.ksg-wellnesscoaching.com. I have an organisation, LinkedIn, Kes Smith Green, obviously the KSG, even by contacting Jasmine.
Amazing. Can you put those links on the post, on the original post? Can you put all your links on there?
On the original post, yeah, definitely. I can sort
so
that
then people
out.
can just click on them and contact you if they would like to book a session with you for their team or individuals or something. But no, thank you so much, Kes, for coming on. It's been amazing catching up with you. And thank you, everybody else, for joining. Please contact Kes if you are interested in anything to do with well-being for your company, for yourself. Kes is the man. Thank you so much, Kes. And thank you, everybody. And see you next week.